Anthony Yarde makes easy work of Travis Reeves in a 10-rounder. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Remstar Says So. Let's get right into this, guys, while it's still fresh in the minds and the memory. Anthony Yarde has now probably set himself up for a mandatory shot at Sergey Kovalev's WBO light heavyweight championship. Anthony Yarde, in only his 18th professional fight, with 17 coming via knockout, made easy work of Travis Reeves. During that fight, I said that Anthony Yarde made the whole fight look easy. I don't think Anthony Yarde came out of second gear at all during that fight, and he really just didn't get much out of it. Um, is Anthony Yarde ready to step up to the world level? I don't know. I think maybe he could do with one or two more fights. But if the WBO mandate him and he takes it and he turns it down, they could be looking at starting all over again from the beginning, and they might just scrap him from the rankings. What could I say? Anthony Yarde, he has really climbed the ladder of success. All of those endorsement deals, he's knocking guys out for fun. Let's not forget, Travis Reeves is a former world championship contender. And he's come up against a guy who's only had 12 amateur fights and 18 professional fights now, and he couldn't do anything. Every time Travis Reeves hit Anthony Yarde flush, it just looked like he wasn't doing any damage whatsoever. I was speaking to my cousin about this during the fight, and my cousin was saying that Anthony Yarde should be looking to jump ship and go and fight under Matchroom with Eddie Hearn. I don't think that Anthony Yarde should do that at all. I think he's in the right promotional spanner and stable to stay where he is. As everybody knows, Frank Warren has always had a great relationship with the WBO, and that's why when you look at Frank Warren fighters, a lot of them will always be fighting for the WBO title because Frank Warren was one of the very few promoters that helped to push the WBO into world title status when they were really coming up. Because a lot of people sort of looked at the WBO like how people look at the IBO title now. Um, I think it was a good fight for Anthony Yarde. I think he showed grit. He showed that he's got the mental capacity to stay in there. Most of the fights that Anthony Yarde has had before, he's sort of just gone in there and blown somebody out in a couple of rounds. Here we saw Anthony Yarde in a different kind of fight, fighting somebody who's got a chin, fighting somebody who's fought at the highest level before, fighting somebody who was coming there to try and revitalize his career. And Anthony Yarde, he had to sort of show his mental fortitude to keep going. Yes, he looked like he barely broke a sweat in that fight, but he really sort of picked his punches. I think Anthony Yarde possibly could have got him out there a little bit faster, but I also think that he was trying to get some rounds under his belt. As it's been widely sort of discussed for a long time now, had Anthony Yarde win this fight, he'd probably be mandated to fight Sergey Kovalev. Um, and obviously, Anthony Yarde is desperately trying to get a bit more experience under his belt because stepping up to that world level and fighting a guy like Kovalev with a great amateur background and a huge professional pedigree, it could be dangerous. Or maybe not. A lot of people are saying that Sergey Kovalev is coming to the end of his career, and this might be the perfect time for Anthony Yarde to sort of step up right now and face him. I don't know what Frank Warren's thinking. Does Frank Warren risk it all, roll the dice, and let him go and take that fight? Or do they sort of tell the WBO thanks but no thanks and continue on the path that they're at? I know Anthony Yarde believes that he's ready. His boxing trainer Tunde Ajayi is a little bit up and down with it. Let's just remember that Sergey Kovalev is the guy who lost twice to Andre Ward, and he also lost to Eldia Alvarez before sort of rectifying that and beating him unanimously um, last month in February. Is this the time for Anthony Yarde to pounce? Well, he says lions are in the camp, and lions do not back down. You know, I would support Anthony Yarde going for the title shot. or I'd support him sort of, having some more fights, even if it means losing that mandatory status. I think that he's in a nice position right now where, he can really pick when he really wants to step up. I think he's young enough to sort of really grow his career how he wants to do it. And I don't think anybody should sort of be dictating anything to him. I mean, when you look at the competition, what is Eddie Hearn doing for his stablemate of light heavyweights? You got the likes of Boatsi, Craig Richards, formerly Buglioni, Hosea Burton, and none of these guys ain't in a position to fight for a world title shot. So why is anybody dictating to Anthony Yarde? He's only 27 years old. He'll turn 28 in about 6 months' time. He's got, he's probably got the best part of 10 years worth of boxing behind him. One thing I did notice during that fight is that the commentators said they believe Anthony Yarde is struggling to make the weight. That could be a huge sort of issue for him going forwards. Because I have heard Anthony Yarde talking about emulating Mike Tyson and going all the way up to heavyweight. Now, I don't think that's a good idea personally, especially in this current heavyweight division where you've got the land of the giants. But could I see him moving up to cruiserweight potentially? Anthony Yarde, he's a big, bulky, light heavyweight. He's just completely muscle bound. Maybe one thing he could do is maybe cut down on the weights and you know, lean out a little bit. But I guess that's what makes him so dangerous. He's packing all that muscle, and he's got all that strength and power behind his shots. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts. Do you think that Anthony Yarde is ready? Should he take this Kovalev fight if he is mandated? Hit like, hit subscribe, comment, share this video. You're watching Remstar Says So.